Thanks, Johnny. No need for a background. This will do. Thanks, mate. All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being patient and waiting. Can we then just begin in this order? We will go Kobus Klassen, we will go Simnike Klabanesa, we will go JJ. From JJ, we will then go to Ronaldo. In that order, please.
Thanks. Hi, Jake. I think
Jake is on mute.
Hi, Kobus.
Hi, Jake. First of all, congratulations. Last week, Rory McIlroy won the Grand Slam at Augusta, and tonight the Bulls have won the Irish Grand Slam in Limerick. But on a serious note, what does this win mean for the Bulls?
It's massive. I mean, not just because we've beaten all four. I mean, I don't think it's happened before where a side has ever beaten the four Irish provinces in one season. This is the first time that I think Munster's lost to a South African side at home. But more importantly, and I just think the way we played, Kobus, you know, we had to play. I knew it was going to be an 80-minute slog. I knew it was going to be one of those games that goes to the wire. And we needed this sort of momentum going into the playoffs now. You know, it's next week, it doesn't get any easier. We play Glasgow, who beat us in the final. So what we couldn't afford is to go, you know, play badly today and then go into next week having, you know, played and lost to Edinburgh and then lost to Munster. So from a momentum point of view, from a confidence point of view, from a log position point of view, we're obviously very, very happy.
They always say that you see a team's will to win by the way they defend, and that was just that was pretty spectacular tonight.
Yeah, especially that last block. You know, I mean, we had to keep them out, and you know, just by not giving a penalty away, by, you know, showing discipline, by all the things we've been speaking about. You know, it's, I don't want to say in the past we you know, I don't want to be negative about that, but in the past we would have maybe made one or two mistakes there and you know, let ourselves down. So, you know, that will be the catalyst of what we need to do. I mean, we need to defend like that in the next month and a half before the competition ends against really good teams. We're going to have to do that for 80 minutes, not for 4.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
How's it, Jake? Congrats on that win. Incredible game. That was a bit of a throwback, wasn't it? Just good old-fashioned two teams just slugging it out and just, you know, depending almost entirely on, you know, the winner emerging almost entirely on who's refusing to lose the most.
Exactly that, Sim. I think that's why I'm so excited, because you could see that the Bulls really wanted to win this game. You know, I mean, I know it's always a cliche. Someone wanted it more than others, and it's, you know, that's a rugby cliche. But you could see when we have to go to 84 minutes to keep the Munster team out, and that's what it would need. I mean, that's why teams don't come here and win, because Munster don't make it easy for you. And you know, it would be wrong of me not to mention. I mean, but they lost Craig Casey and they lost Peter O'Mahony in the warm-up. And it just shows you again, you know, how good this club is, because, you know, we still had to play for 84 minutes before we could get a win over them. So it's you know, people use the word massive, huge, whatever. For us, it's one of the biggest wins we've had as a group, because of the context of where we are in the competition and because of the context of what we're going to need to do in the next couple of weeks if we want to win this competition.
How were the nerves in the last 7 minutes? You know, you've gone 16-13 up, but you know, your guys are kicking it out on the full, inviting them back, and then obviously you had to endure that last 20 phases before the game ended.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, I just said to two of those players, can't you do me a favor and just kick the ball infield? I mean, geez, I mean, it was like we almost capitulated twice, and you know, the point, that's what I was saying to you. Usually those capitulations have led to us giving the game back to option. You know, we capitulated, as you said, kicked the ball out, then we kicked it out again. But then we defended probably the best defensive set we've had for a long, long time. I just was looking at my phone, it wasn't being rude, but since when last have Munster scored one try? So to keep Munster, scoring one try against you, and that try was 38th minute, is obviously something that we'll also, make sure that it's a massive positive for our team. The first time Munster got into our 22 was in the 34th minute, which again showed how much control we had in the beginning and made sure that we didn't give them ease into our 22.
And Jake, last one from me. Obviously, your players would have learned an awful lot from being involved in a contest like that and winning. You personally, what would you say you've learned about your team?
I mean, I've always said to you, all of you, Sim, I mean, this is a talented team and they got talent. The golden nugget for me is how do we go from where we are to being champions? We've lost 2 finals. We've lost in every single tournament we've played. We've got to the playoffs. I mean, the challenge now is how are we going to convert those opportunities that we get in the playoff games to win those games. And I'm sure it'll come. I mean, I'm very, very sure it will come. Because there's a talent, and for the 4 minutes at the end of that game, you saw there was a desire to win as well. And when you combine those two, a desire to win and talent, as we've shown in the last couple of years, and our team growing older, as in more mature and older, it's going to be something that I'm sure that we can use in our favor going into these big games.
Thanks, Jake.
Thank you. Thanks, Sim.
Hi, Jake. Congrats on the win. It must be a special night for the boys out there, beating all 4 Irish provinces. One thing that must have frustrated you was the way the scrums went off, when their props went down and they took away one of your biggest weapons.
Well, that's also why I think I wonder what that game would have looked like, and I'm talking about the shape of the game, had those scrums stayed competitive and had those scrums not been uncontested. And, again, let's be fair, Ollie Jager went off reasonably early, and he's obviously a very good scrummager. So we got the rub of the green for the time that he was off, because to be fair, I mean, that was their next prop. And I don't mean in the pecking order. It was a new prop coming on straight into a game. And that obviously makes it difficult, because then that meant that prop would have then, come in much quicker than he thought. And then to go to uncontested scrums, in some ways it counted against us. But let's be fair, it also meant every time we defended well and turned the ball over in terms of getting Munster to get a knock on, then we almost were guaranteed of getting the ball away from that scrum as well. So it works both ways, I think, JJ.
And secondly, this result just puts a bit more on next week's game against Glasgow. Get a win there and 2 wins at Loftus, and it's another home semi.
Yeah, JJ, I'm going to tell you something. Nothing today would have changed the importance of next week's game. I can tell you that post the final, everyone wrote on their wall, 25 April 2025. Because we lost the final, and we always knew that the next time we play against them was going to be an opportunity for us to make sure we play as well as we can, because we missed an opportunity. So yeah, it's nice to go with momentum, and it's nice to go with a positiveness. But I can promise you, from the day we started preseason, the 25th of April was always going to be the game that we were going to go hard for.
Thanks, Jake, and congrats for the win, and have a safe flight home. To Glasgow.
Goes Jake Ronaldo here. Congrats on the win. Ron Orke in the week said we're going to have to be much better at coping under pressure. And I mean, you could see that tonight. What do you think was the biggest difference from tonight's game compared to last week's performance, if you look at how the guys defended and how they kind of made decisions under pressure?
Yeah, Ronaldo, I wish I could answer that, because that again is what I said to them, is why we can't do that every single week. Same intensity, same accuracy, same, and that is us every good team, I think any team that's ever coached is always trying to find the perfect performance every Saturday. And if we just video that last block of defense and we play that to them for the next 6 months, and then challenge them whether we can turn that 4 minutes into 80 minutes in terms of back-to-back efforts and back-to-back defensive sets. So, I can't answer why it would be different this week to last week. Last week was a quarterfinal. We were up for it. We really wanted to go through to the next round. I can't question the fact that they therefore went in with any less intent or any less preparation or any less desire to do well. So, I'm just glad that there was a reaction from last week's loss because there was obviously a lot at stake last week to get a semi-final place in a competition. And, there's no better way for a coach than when you get a result against Munster away from home, because that can only help you with your preparation and with your mental approach going into a game where you're playing against the champions of URC last year.
And just your last question, obviously very physical game tonight. The likes of Cameron, Marcel, Ruan, a lot of big hits. Does this whole game performance change your preparation for this week's game, giving guys a bit more rest, or did it not really affect your preparation for this weekend?
No. I mean, it was always going to be week 4 was always going to be, and don't forget, we play Glasgow Friday night. So, it was always going to be a week where we would have to be clever about how much we expect from them. So, it makes no difference. I mean, I always knew, I think, again, people probably not aware, but we played Munster, who won this competition 2 years ago, and we played Glasgow, who won the competition last year. I mean, that's back-to-back champions. So I don't think that there have been too many tougher games consecutively for us than these two. So we always knew that we're going to have to be box clever going into the Glasgow fixture.
Yeah, good luck, coach. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right, and the last question to Carl Fabian. Thank you.
I'm all good, thanks, Lunga.
All right, wonderful. Coach, we've got to let you go. Thank you so much, everybody.